Well, hello. I hope you are all doing well. My name is Mon and I'm bringing you another Life is Strange discussion video. And what I want to focus on in this video is Pricefield, because I think we are going to be in for a treat when we get Reunion. Even though there's been a lot of concerns about Chloe, and what she remembers and if this even is our Chloe coming back to Reunion, I think we're going to get spoiled with the amount of Pricefield content. I honestly think no matter what happens, if the game does amazing or if the story falls flat, I just feel like everyone's going to be like, yeah, thanks for the content though. I think people are going to walk away with the Pricefield content. I don't think anyone is going to walk away empty-handed. I think we're going to take the Pricefield content with us. Let's be honest, even the die-hard Deck 9 haters are rooting for Reunion and Chloe coming back, and it's very wholesome to see, to be honest. Why I think the Pricefield content is going to be much better than the first game is not only because of the actors returning or the fact that the Max and Chloe are older, but it's mostly down to the technology used to make the game, and that's what we're going to delve into a little bit in this video. To explain what I mean, we're going to go back to the very beginning. So when Don't Nod made the original Life is Strange in 2015, their studio was located in Paris, France. And obviously they were making a American-based game, so they wanted American actors. So they hired actors through a studio who were based in Los Angeles. And how it worked was, Don't Nod was busy in Paris. They were making the game and they were filming the motion capture with French actors. So the motion capture is recording the movements and expressions of the actors that will be carried over into the game. Bear in mind, this would have been like 11, 12 years ago, so the mocap would have been a lot more simple, and in Don't Nod's case, they would have mocapped just the body. They wouldn't have put too much focus into the face. So technically, when you think of it, there were two actors per character in the Life is Strange series. One being the mocap actor and the other being the voice actor. So while all this was happening in Paris, over in Los Angeles, a voice recording studio were providing the audio for the game. These actors included Hannah Tell, who plays Max, Ashley Birch, who played Chloe. They would go into a recording booth and they would read out their lines, and purely it was voice acting. They weren't doing any physical or any performative acting. They were just using their voices. And the thing is, that actually meant a lot of the scenes could be done solo. So they brought in the individual actors to do their lines. They didn't necessarily have to be together. At one point, Hannah Tell said that she only met Cissy Jones once. Cissy played Joyce Price, Chloe's mum. But even though they only met in person once and only recorded together once, they have numerous scenes together in the game. And this would have been the same with all the actors in the game, including Ashley. Hannah and Ashley were in the studio for the original Life is Strange together when they would be recording more serious and emotional scenes. I think a majority of the Pricefield scenes in episode 5 were recorded with the two of them together, but I think most of the other stuff, it was done with them separately. So basically there was a great deal of editing with the game, because the audio footage from Los Angeles would be sent to Paris and then it would be added into the game and the motion capture that had been taken already. So here we are 10 years later and technology has changed so much. This includes motion capture technology, which means that it's easier now to get more detailed animations and features into games. Well, all that being said, Deck 9's approach to motion capture and recording is much different to what Don't Nod did. Everything was done in-house in Deck 9. So the motion capture, the voice acting, the editing, everything was done under one roof. And the biggest difference is that the actors would actually be cast for both mocap and voice. The actors would then be acting out the scenes in a room, with the motion capture suits on. And the voice recordings and the footage from those scenes would be both used in the game. Whereas voice acting would just be kind of more exclusive to redos or inner monologue. Obviously, this is a very different method, which shows very different results. So as amazing as the first Life is Strange was, you can kind of see where the animations were more looped and how the voice acting was kind of done separately a little bit. So the current form of motion capture basically has the same results as filming a TV show or a scene in a film. Everything that is caught on camera goes into the game. And just to prove how different these two methods are, Hannah actually had to audition again for Max because Deck 9 used motion capture. It's a pretty wild thought because we all know and love Hannah as Max, but she had to re-audition for the role to prove that she was able for the physical demands of motion capture. And she would have been doing beyond voice acting. She would have been doing way more than what she was doing in the first Life is Strange. Now, obviously, Hannah nailed the audition. She got the part of Max again. She did great in Double Exposure. But it's crazy to think that if Hannah was exclusively a voice actor, then they would probably have to recast her as Max in the new Life is Strange games. So all that being said, the motion capture gear that Deck 9 uses also has the headgear. So it basically is a camera that sits on front of the actor's face and it captures their facial movements, their facial expressions, and it gives a much more detailed read for the game, which is how the characters are so expressive and how the lip sync has great improvement to it. And when you look at Max in Double Exposure and Reunion, you can see that her face is so much more expressive than it was in the first game. And that would be down to the motion capture gear that they were using in the studio. And this is why I think we are going to be spoiled for Pricefield content, because there's obviously going to be a lot more detail picked up with the scenes. And obviously, Rihanna and Hannah are working like physically together. So those little details that they include when filming, they're going to be picked up in the game. Rihanna said it in an interview that they added in like small looks to each other and like little gestures, like little touches towards each other. And I think those little things are going to go such a long way in the final presentation of the game. With the first Life is Strange, I don't think they were focusing too much on the facial features. The motion capture was mainly like for the body and poses, and like the one that really sticks out to me is Max and Chloe walking on the train track. There is mocap footage of that being recorded. But I don't think they went in too heavy with the facial animations, where in this case both Hannah and Rihanna had their faces recorded for the motion capture. So this is what I'm most excited about, the little looks towards each other, because they're very subtle things and they will be picked up. So you will see a lot of like, you know, probably glances at each other. Like, you kind of seen it in the trailer when Max is looking at Chloe, like she has this smile like that's just radiating happiness. And we also see like the little clip of the more serious scene with Max and Chloe. You can see Max's emotions much clearer in the game. The scenes would have been blocked for animation purposes, which means that like the actors would know where they were standing, what they needed to do, and when they needed to do it. So there isn't a lot of room for improv with motion capture. Hannah actually confirmed that it is quite strict. There'd be no room for her as an actor to kind of alter the script. It had to be said exactly as written. But those little tiny details are going to speak the most volumes. And not only that, because Hannah and Rihanna are working together, those little gestures are going to be like in the moment, you know, they're going to do it kind of based on how they're feeling, because they're actually embodying the character, they're acting it out and being able to express themselves more than they would if they were just doing voice booth acting. Hannah and Rihanna also grew very close during the development of Reunion. They have honestly bonded so much, and you can see it in their interviews together, and you actually see them both get very emotional when they're talking about the game. And when you have two actors who have amazing chemistry, that's going to carry over to the project they're working on. If the actors have amazing chemistry, the characters are going to have amazing chemistry too. And seeing the bonds that Hannah and Rihanna both have, I think that's just going to explode in the game. And I think we might have got the perfect pair for Max and Chloe this time. Hannah and Ashley would have been across the booth from each other, reading out the lines to each other and purely focusing on their voices, whereas Rihanna and Hannah are actually acting out the scenes. They're actually, you know, looking at each other and saying the stuff to each other, and they are quite literally in the moment, you know? So while Max and Chloe were amazing in the first game, I think Max and Chloe in Reunion is going to be a lot more fluid, a lot more natural, and a lot more comfortable with each other. And that's going to be down to the motion capture and obviously Hannah and Rihanna actually acting out the scenes and their movements being picked up and put into the game. And dare I say, I actually think the Pricefield moments we're going to get in this game might be better than the first. And that's not shades to the first game, but it did have limited animations, and I do think that the acting circumstances, the advancements in technology, they are going to make for some pretty memorable scenes. The one thing I love about mocap acting in general is how it can really pick up the actor and kind of put a bit of their personality into the game. Personally, I think Hannah's spirit picks up so much in Double Exposure. Having followed Hannah's career since the first Life is Strange game and seeing her in interviews and how she presents herself, I could definitely see little elements of Hannah coming through with Max, and I just think that's amazing. And when you look at how bonded Rihanna and Hannah are, I just think that the scenes are going to be so powerful and potentially more soul-destroying. I think this game is going to break us entirely. And we got a behind-the-scenes look where Rihanna is crying and Hannah is consoling her, but I can tell you those details in the game are going to be gut-wrenching. When we see those details with Chloe, her facial expressions are going to be so clear. It is going to break us. So I think we need to prepare ourselves for that. I actually do not think we're ready for the content we're going to receive. I don't think we're ready for the Pricefield content that's coming our way. Also, with that being said, Hannah and Rihanna are very attached to their characters. Hannah practically is Max. She has expressed so many times how much she relates to her, and I don't think there's an actor who loves their character more than Hannah loves Max. Hannah adores Max. Rihanna played Chloe in Before the Storm, and you can tell Rihanna is very bonded to Chloe. Even though the original Chloe was Ashley Birch, Rihanna took over to tell Chloe's full story, and I think that bonded her to Chloe because that game was all about her. And I don't know too much about Rihanna's career, but I feel like Before the Storm was their moment, was the role that opened the doors for them, you know? I feel like Chloe in Before the Storm was Rihanna's Kickstarter. Obviously, as an actor, you're going to be very bonded to that role that kind of kickstarted you and pointed you in a certain direction, you know? So we have two actors who are very passionate about their characters, who are very bonded to each other, and advancements in technology that are going to pick up so many details in recording. So I honestly think we are in for a treat. No matter what happens with Reunion, I am just going to be so excited for the Pricefield content, and I will be content with whatever content we get. And when you look at Hannah and Rihanna and how emotional they get talking about the game, that just kind of shows what we are in for with Reunion. We are in for some gut punches, some intense scenes, and I think we should be prepared. I do not think we're ready. I do not think we're ready. I think as Pricefield shippers, we're going to need some time to recover after this game comes out. So let me know in the comments what you think. Are you excited to see Hannah and Rihanna work together for the first time with Reunion? And from what you've seen so far, what do you think the chemistry between Max and Chloe will be like in Reunion compared to the first game? Let me know in the comments because I am interested to hear your thoughts. And as always, these videos are just discussions and opinions to pass the time before Reunion comes out. So no hate, no drama. This is a place to have a respectful discussion and get hyped for the next Life is Strange game. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!